Hi, Chéri. Welcome to Bella Let's Talk. Thank you so much for watching. Seriously, guys, I honor each and every one of you. Today, I have my big brother, and
Shit.
listen, when once your big brother says he's coming, then you know you're doing the right things, because it's like, they're always busy, they always have some things to do, but he made time for me, and it's a big honor to host you
Yeah,
today.
oh, I
Yeah.
appreciate it, honestly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So please present yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So I am Jason Drakes, otherwise known as Jay. Some know me as Bon Voyage. I'm one half of the duo, the Airplane Boys, aka APB. I'm here. I'm here in the flesh, to speak on some spiritual matters. All right, I'm here. Haven't been in an interview in a while, so yeah.
I'm seriously happy. Like when you said you can
Yeah,
come, I was like,
yeah,
what? Yeah. It's a big
yeah,
honor to host you.
yeah.
So can you share a little bit about your life? Like what do you do?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I do music. I'm a musician. I'm a songwriter as well. I have a production company.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I basically started at the age of like 10. If you want to go back that far, why don't
Yeah.
we, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up at in a neighborhood in Morningside and Lawrence in Scarborough. And when my parents divorced, I moved to Malvern, where I spent most of my life. And yeah, so I was 10, and that's when I met my best friend Manny.
Okay.
And yeah, literally, one day I was writing the first day of school
Yeah.
for me at my new school. I was writing on my desk, and he came up to me and he was like, "Yo, there's this talent show on Friday. Do you want to like be a part?" He didn't know what I was doing, right? But he was like rapping with some other guys that were there at the school, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll rock with you." And yeah, we formed a group, I think called like Shaolin Swift, maybe, or maybe it was Rat Pack. We went through a bunch of names. It was like Rat Pack. Later that week, we just said, "Yo, this is the Rat Pack." It was like 5 of us,
Yeah.
and we basically started from there. Then we changed the name to like Shaolin Swift, and we were doing a lot of graffiti, doing a lot of hood music.
Yeah.
Basically, making music about our surroundings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And later we went to high school together. We kind of had a point of stray, and then later in high school we started to rap again, and we started up again,
Yeah.
and we later went to college, same college too, Seneca at York, and he took broadcasting and television. I took independent music production, and we basically were using our OSAP money to fund our videos, right? And so we funneled that money into one video that went like semi-viral in the 2010, and that was an era where there wasn't a lot going on in the city. Drake was still kind of bubbling, getting radio play, and we were really attacking the internet. We had a Canon 5D, and that was a revolutionary camera because it allowed a lot of artists and creatives to do very high quality videos,
Yeah.
but for not a crazy price,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we did a lot of shoestring budget type videos, and they garnered us a lot of attention, and we had a lot of local attention. We started doing shows in the city downtown, and then Snoop Dogg, his management had hit us up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we thought it was like a troll thing, you know what I mean? We're like, nah, Snoop already, and at the time, the single we had put out, it was called Sleep, and it was about realizing your dreams. It was definitely a legendary record, I think, for the city. In that time, you know what I mean? And now if you look back, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's hard,
Yeah.
you know? But, we thought it was a joke thing, right? And basically, we had an investor who would kind of come into the play, and we ended up getting a PR, and he had given us some money. And he was like, and we basically, we booked a trip to LA because there was a guy who, at the time, I forget his name now, but he managed Black Eyed Peas and a couple other big acts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think his name's Neil Jacobson. and we went out there to meet this guy, right? Because we had this really cool press kit. It was like a book. We got it printed at TPH, and it had in the back of it had our CD, our EP, right? And then it had like a little DVD that kind of explained who we are, right? So this thing alone was a magical piece. I wish I had it, but you know, when it comes to like, you know, presentation, there was nobody doing that like us at that time. And so it got in the hands of some really high up there people in the industry. Anyway, Neil Jacobson got one, and he was really impressed. We go out to LA, we have this house, we got this money, we're moving and grooving, and he ends up canceling our meeting.
No way.
Yeah, so we were like, damn, like, what are we gonna do out here? We just like wasted all this money, right? Okay, cool, we'll take some pictures, whatever, get some content, right?
Yeah.
And then, man, he was like, yo, bro, remember that email from, you know, Snoop's management? Why don't we see what's going on, right? So we go check that email now, and we look at the address. We're like, yo, let's pull up. We have a rental. So we pulled up, go to the place. Lo and behold, it's actually Snoop Dogg's, like, office. Yeah. So there's, like, plaques on the wall. We're like, oh, this is crazy, yo. Like, you know, we're out here. And, yeah, we met our friend now. We didn't know him then, obviously, but his name is Justin Lee, and he worked for Ted Chung, who was Snoop's manager. Ted Chung, he's a big-time guy.
How old were you guys around?
Oh, man, I was probably 20.
Okay.
I was like 20 years old, so we were like kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were kids just like trying to figure it out, you know? And yeah, we freestyled for Jay Lee. He loved what we did.
Yeah.
And then he told Ted about it, because Ted was like in Korea at the time. And then he was like, yo, we got to get on a FaceTime call with the guys. We got on a call, and then we basically had this like courting situation for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, a couple months later, they flew to Toronto to basically sign us. And that was the beginning of like my professional music career. Yeah. So
it's a big one, you know.
Yeah. It was crazy, you know, and you know, they basically brought us on. Then I basically lived in LA for a little while too. We lived in this Snoop had a studio actually. You know, it was in Inglewood, and it was from the outside you wouldn't know that it's a studio inside, but there's lots of creatives living in there, and it's kind of gated off. And on the top it's like a tax service building, but it's in Inglewood, so like up the road is the hood.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And we're like Scarborough mans, but it's like LA is like hood. You feel me?
Yeah.
So we were all watching, yo, what colors are we wearing today? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? You know, keeping six about everything. But we managed to, you know, do our thing out there, and we built a really good relationship. Snoop Dogg ended up taking us on tour. He brought us on our first tour. So I went to like, you know, Europe, all over, London, Cardiff, Wales. You know, we did Korea with him, you know, and then we went on our own world tours as well. I did Coachella, Osheaga, Governor's Ball, like a lot of the big festivals of the time. You know, we did that. I mean, and there's still big festivals. So we were like some of the first artists from the city doing hip hop to do that kind of thing in a time where like no one was doing that, you know. At the time, like Drake didn't even. We did Coachella in 2012, and that was when The Weeknd did it too.
Ooh,
you see what I'm saying?
Now.
So yeah, in 2012. So it was wild because, you know, a lot of like, I feel like, you know, a lot of artists obviously gravitated more towards The Weeknd stuff, but we came out of the same producer. Right? Our homie Elangelo produced The Weeknd and us at the same time. You know, and Weeknd like took all the way off, right? But we, you know, we shared a lot of the like, you know, same studio time and stuff like that, right? So it was cool. Even like a lot of the people from the city in that time, they were looking, because that was the first time I think they did it live too, online.
Yeah.
So a lot of we were getting the text messages from back home, like, yo, we see you guys, like you guys are on the same time, like it's crazy, you know. So that shout out to Stampede Management. That's the management that managed us for a while. And that's like Snoop's people. You
Yeah.
feel me? So they basically, you know, brought us and gave us that, helped us to you know, understand the business. And like what it really takes
Yeah.
to like make it, you know, what kind of relationships you need.
Yeah.
You know, talent is one thing,
Yeah.
but if you don't have the relationships to exploit that properly,
Then yeah.
it's like, what are you doing out here? You know what I mean? So yeah, we were able to have a good run. It's not over yet, you feel me?
Yeah.
But just from those early stages where there was no real establishment, especially in the city, like even
Yeah.
now, like
Yeah.
Toronto's big, like, you know, we've influenced the sound of, you know, America in a major way in the world. I mean, look at what Drake has done. It's
Yes.
uncomparable. No matter what is going on with the beef and
Yeah.
how people feel about Kendrick, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like he is who he is, and you know, but the thing is, it was that worldwide exposure first, right? Toronto didn't really have an infrastructure
Yeah.
for artists to really kill it. You know, we have grants and stuff, which was dope. You know,
Yeah.
I used a lot of grants. You know, our team used a lot of grants at a point. But when you look at the numbers of people that are supporting hip hop and R&B, you know, America is where it's at, even
Yes.
still.
100%. Yeah.
You see it? So we were very fortunate to have people of that caliber like help us,
Yeah.
you know, to understand. Yeah.
Actually, I admire so much. Like
Yeah.
at 10 years old to push yourself.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I don't know if you see that as well. In our generation, it's different. Like people rather kill each other, fight, instead of like, yo, we can team up and bring something out, right? What is something that you would teach somebody who's young, who truly like have that desire? And in time we're in now, it's a bit different than your time. Something that they can do to help them. And what is your mistake you made during that season? You say that, yeah, I would do this different. Yeah.
I think one, I would tell, you know, any artist coming up, like, or anybody just trying to do something big is
Yeah.
like, number one, keep pushing. You know, your time is your time.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you really believe in something, then you should understand it, you know, in and out, from the business perspective, from the creative perspective. But I think what could help people even more is like understanding your purpose and how you can be of service to people, right?
Yeah.
Any good product
Yeah.
is service based. You know what I mean? In a way, right? You're entertaining, you're giving the gospel, you're providing something. And I think if you can, you know, especially as an artist, if you can understand who you are,
Yeah.
understand the importance of a narrative, and think about it, and if you pray, you believe in God, whatever it is you believe in, I believe in God, but you know, you put that and open up for those messages, right?
Yes.
Open up for the messages that can help you to understand, how can I be a service? Because once you're a service and you know what you're doing, people are always gonna come back to that. Am I Chinese food? Am I jerk chicken? Am I, you know, am I Italian?
Yeah.
Keep making that dish, you know, find out what works for you. And you can only find that out by testing it out. You gotta put it out there, right? So then the other part is like developing the strength to be brave enough to give it to the world, because you can make something for yourself, but once you put it out, it's
Yeah.
for everyone. You know, it's not yours
100%.
anymore, right? And that, you know, like when it comes to the music, you know, a lot, especially in Toronto, there's a lot of beef. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of beef,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate, to be honest. Like, you know, I'm older now. You
Yeah.
feel me? But you know, it's unfortunate to see what kids are getting involved in. You know, and I grew up in an era with like real violence. You know, my neighborhood was real violence. I
Yeah.
really lost friends. You know, my friends really went to jail. I was
Yeah.
involved in a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but I made it out of that. You know, but you know, unfortunately, I feel like we kind of follow a lot of the culture in America in a way, and even in America, there's a lot of OGs saying, "Yo, what's the point of that?"
Yeah.
Right? What's the point of, you know, exploiting that? And I think labels are also responsible for that too, because
100%.
they're signing the artists. There's the big wigs, you know, the big guys at the top who didn't come from what we come from,
Yeah.
and the balance, it's offset. You know what I mean? Before, you would see there's kind of, we grew up on violent hip hop too, right? But there was more of a, this is what's going on. It was more of like a broadcasting. It's like the news.
Yes, yeah.
Listening to music,
Yeah.
right? Now it's like, yo, I live that. I'm gonna pull up on my ops block and I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think artists got to look at the grand scheme of things, right? When it's like, even if you look at the city, it's
Yeah.
like, look at Atlanta, for example. They've unified, and that's why they've been able to take over.
Yeah.
They understand, you got this, you need this. And I'm seeing it now more in the city, but I think there needs to be more of it, right? And that comes with understanding and maturity. If you want a longevity.
Yes.
You know what I mean, in music, right? So yeah, I think it's important to reach out to people, to connect, even like what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Be concerned with like helping each other out and connecting, because you never know what magic can come from that. Versus like trying to be the tough guy all the time or whatever. You know what I mean? Because it's not tough when you get your family, like I put my parents through, or my mom at least, she's witnessed, the police in my house, she's been arrested because of me, you know what I mean? And not like she was arrested, but you know what I'm saying? It's because of who I'm dealing with, my house getting broken into, looking for stuff that, I didn't have. It was, set up situation. I mean, that's a whole other story, but what I'm saying is, when you put your family at risk, it's a whole different situation. It's not worth it. Your life is not worth it, your future. So what is it all for? And I think if people, have a scope of like where they really want to be and who they are, then, you wouldn't make those types of decisions. So yeah, I would say just understand what it is you want to do. Try to zoom out of it all and fine tune. Write a 5-year plan. What does that look like?
Yeah.
Who do you want to be in 5 years?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself? When you can see yourself and have an idea of what you want, and you write that down, you script that, then you ask God to bless that, and you move from there, Yeah.
I truly admire like like how you have transitioned from like being that person. Now you're like, yo, I don't need that. Like, how did you come out of it?
I think, it's definitely, I give a lot of credit to my mom's, spiritual development, because that helped me to see, it gave me a pathway, like my dad, he was there, up until the age of 10, and then he had kind of, my parents split, then he moved to America, you know what I mean? So we didn't really, in the years that, and I'm not like mad at it. Like, we have a good relationship now. I understand how things go. But what I'm saying is, like, I really had to lean on that, and really lean on the streets, to be honest. It's not like my mom, like I was raised by like myself. Like my mom gave me a backbone, but I was really out here, right?
Yeah.
So, so in a way, it's cool. But what I'm saying is, like, my mom, she used to give me a daily word to read. You know what the daily word is?
Yeah.
Those little booklets?
Small,
Yeah. So that I used to like read those like little stories and go, look at the Bible verse at the end, look at the lesson, and that actually is what helped me to read the Bible.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so later I went on, and then I would go to like the reference library. I would look up prophets, different old prophets who word about the times. Like, I just went on my own journey. But if it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't have the mindset. And Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Yeah. I didn't realize what was happening. You know what I mean? Like, because if you can read the Bible, but then it can actually activate inside you. There's a difference, when the Holy Spirit is really talking to you and you're in motion, you're doing something, and oh man, this came to me, and you don't realize. And later in life, I had some situations that really showed me that God is the way. So one time, me and Manny and the team, we had this big show in the city, right? We sold out a lot of merch, made some good money. And we decided to go to LA to kind of write again. This was like in 2014. But a month before we went, I had this dream that I was holding my boy up in water, right? It was like almost like a outer body experience, I guess, but it was, you know, it was my dream. But it was like me looking at myself down and I'm holding him up in water, right? A month later, we go out to LA, right? And we're there to write. And, you know, our producer, Kenny, he wasn't really rocking what we wanted to write. And I feel like he just couldn't handle the pressure. He's a good dude, but, you know, there was a lot happening really fast, you know? And, you know, at the last day that we had out there, the second last day, I was like, Manny, bro, like, I'm done with this. Like, if we're not making any bangers, then let's go enjoy ourselves. And I think part of the reason why what I'm about to tell you happened is, like, we were in a mode of, like, let's make music for the world, right? The music that got me the recognition and that got me around the world, you know, was spirit-based. It was about light, enlightenment, right? I don't call myself a Christian rapper, but the core is there. You know what I mean? And in the future, you know, I may be doing that. You understand? But you know, there was a way that we were doing things that was very purpose-filled. Whereas when we, you know, in 2014, we were like, yo, let's make some bangers, let's do this, let's do that. You know, and I think that kind of threw Kenny off, and it maybe threw off our energy. Anyway, moving forward, I told Manny, yo, bro, let's just go relax. I'm not just gonna like sit here and we're not pumping out music. Let's go by the beach. We went to the Stampede management office that day, and one of the managers told us, yo, if you guys go by the beach, be careful because a couple people died this weekend. The tides are really high, so just, you know, stay in the shallow areas, right? So then now, you know, Manny wasn't there yet. He went to go pick up one of our homegirls. She like came from the airport, but at the time, me and my other boys were already in the water for like an hour. So I had a feel for what the undertow was. I had a feel for how high the waters were. Even though there's people swimming, I was like, yo, this is kind of crazy. Because I could swim, but I'm not like a wicked swimmer, but I could swim. Anyway, now, Manny comes, we're there in the water, and all of a sudden, I'm like deep in the water. The undertow just kind of like took us out, and I'm looking at the beach. I'm like, yo, fam, we're far, bro. You know what I mean? We're actually pretty far, right? And then I'm like, yo, I can't even stand here anymore. I'm like, oh no, yo, I'm drowning, right? Like this all happened within a matter of like 3 to 4 minutes.
No way.
And the sun was like going down at the time. We should have got out the water a little earlier, right? So I look back and I see my boy Jamie. He's with the girl, Marie, and they're like struggling to swim, right? And then I'm talking to Manny. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm gonna have to throw you, you know, because I can't stand it. I'm like going under, right? And then I'm like, yo, look, I'm gonna hold you up and I'm gonna throw you, right? And then I'm like holding him, but I was like drowning, right? Because he's like way shorter than me too, right? So then, you know, now all of a sudden, you know, I was pretty much underwater. To be honest, I accepted death, you know, at that point. And all of a sudden now the lifeguards come, right? They bring us back. 1, 2, 3. Hold on, here, grab this. Water's going crazy, right? And I can't even really see what's going on. All I know, I'm like, yo, I'm being pulled, and like I just gotta hold on, right? So we get to the shore now, and then it was like, oh snap, I see what's going on, God. Everybody was happy that we were alive, but I was like, oh no, this was what my dream was about. You understand? So it's like at that point, and I've had like other dreams that were like prophetic, I guess, if you want to call it that, psychic, whatever people want to say. But, you know, at that point, I had realized all the work that I was doing, reading, being in spirit, praying. That was like a very physical thing that showed me, okay, cool. I understand how the realm works now. Things happen, and I remember Papa saying it one time, things happen in the spirit before they happen in real life, right?
Physical,
so that really made me say, okay, I'm alive. You know, my heart was in the wrong place when I was making the music. My heart wasn't on God. My heart was on getting money. My heart was on, yo, how do I keep it going? You know what I mean? And I realized right then and there that I was like, okay, cool. I need to keep it about you, God. No matter how long it takes, no matter how long it takes, no matter what, is happening, I have to be of service. I have to be of service to what, you want. If I want to be doing this, or my life is going to be destroyed, in whichever way, right? So that was a powerful time, for me to realize, my power in God, but also like what it is that I've been doing and what I'm developing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's really cool, and that's crazy, like, cause that could have been your end, but I think like God showed you that He's actually holding you, like in the way like you will survive it, and I'm glad that you are obedient, like to understand like, the dreams I have, it's not just to have dreams, it's actually things that I need to, I need to be more spiritual. Would you say like your walk has become harder or easier now, like even with the work what you do as a writer, what would you explain that?
It's definitely, it's gotten harder. Like it's interesting because like, I'm around like billionaires.
Yes.
I'm around people who, don't really care about God.
Faith and stuff.
They understand my energy. They like to have it around, but some don't know, some know. So I think it's definitely been challenging because, there are temptations.
Yes.
Alcohol, drugs,
Yeah.
These sorts of things. It's not pushed down my throat though. You know what I mean? It's just around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in that way, I would say maybe it's harder, but because I know myself and I want to continue to remain myself, and I know the ramifications of going down a road, it's easy for me to like want to choose, light, even though like I've dabbled for sure, you know what I mean? It's just that even like right now, like specifically right now in this time, like I'm on a different path of like kind of re-energizing the spirit and walking more firm and doing things because I have kind of slid around a little bit, and it's not that my core has changed, but I was also developing music for people who wanted certain types of music. You see what I'm saying? So it was kind of hard to discern, okay, well who blessing me, God, the devil or God, because this is money right here, this is pay, and my son's gonna have food and Pampers right now. You know what I mean? So like I don't know, you know what I mean? So, I'm gonna be real. But in this time there's some things that I've went through recently that have shown me like, yo, there's one way. And God gives us these testimonies so that we can have them as markers.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the one thing I know for sure is that if you're not walking with the Lord, especially if you know better, it's not sustainable. No matter what you have, doesn't even matter. Look at what's going on in the industry now. As a matter of fact, even the whole art of celebrity is dying. Movies are dying. Artists are not selling the same type of records. And I feel like overall there's a yearning for spirit now more than ever in the world. No matter what you do, people are lost. People don't trust government. They don't trust what's going on in the news. And it's a very serious time to recognize the time. To recognize like, yo, you have to get tapped in because those steps, those little things are what's gonna help you to sustain your family when it gets crazy. And it is crazy now, but we're not seeing all of it, So, it's easy now for me to walk with God because He's gotten me through, and I have the evidence of His power. So, because I have the evidence, that makes it easy to know. You know what I mean? I think the other part is just patience and trust, and that's what we work on too. You know what I mean? So
daily, What is one story that you can share with us that like, yo, this thing, like I thought, like, I'm done, but it's like you're still here, like.
In the pandemic, I basically, I wouldn't say like I gave up on music, but after I had left my record label, we had left Universal, I didn't know which way I was gonna go, and I had this job. It was paying pretty good money, 9 to 5, and I had a problem with my manager at the time, and I had the opportunity to leave or stay, And at the time, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna leave. I talked to my union guys, and they're like, yo, if you want to come back, you can. Like, your manager was in the wrong. I'm like, nah, just give me my money, and I'm gonna go deal with my things cash on the road, and I'm good. And a week later, we got a call to like write some music for this billionaire.
Yeah.
And who's like connected to, OVO, and basically, yeah. The next week, I like took a private jet to a studio in LA, and I was working on amazing music, and I was around some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Getting paid, and that was like I made a big decision to like not go back to my job, but I feel like that just opened up something that I didn't even realize I could do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And be around, and now I have an amazing relationship with an investor who basically, whatever I need, for my team, I can do. And so like that was something that was a really amazing for me to feel in the pandemic where, I didn't know what was going to be next, and something happened, and a relationship came that basically helped me to reignite my fire for music. And also help me to like evolve and look at, how can I exist? As I get older, what does it look like? I love performing, I love being dripped out and performing, you know what I'm saying? But like, also I want to help other artists. I want to help people develop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to give back, and I was given that opportunity, and now I'm kind of reforming how I want to help people, you know what I mean? So I would say that was a really really good thing. I took a leap of faith to like leave my job, you know what I mean, at the time, and go back full into it. Not everybody could do that, but I'm saying that's what I did, you know what I mean? I had that faith in myself again, in a time where I was like, what do I do, And especially for me, I'm kind of like a spoiled brat in a way, you know what I mean, where it's like everything that I've done has been at a certain quality, been at a certain brand. I've had certain, big corporations buy it, you know what I mean? Like with like Universal, you know what I mean? Or like with Stampede, right?
Yeah.
Like these are not relationships that are a joke, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so it's like, so that to me is like, I guess, an example of resilience and being like, like this is what I believe in. I believe in myself. I'm not gonna take this disrespect. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna do what I believe in. So that's a tough thing for people to do, but
you did, yeah.
I did that. You know what I mean?
But my question now, it's like for you as a writer, like how long does it take you to write? What's the process of that? Yeah.
I love writing. Like,
okay.
Like I used to. If you listen to my like earlier raps, they're very like, common Kendrick Lamar type conscious rap. You feel me? And they're thought out. Sometimes I'll still write pretty quick, but it might take me like an hour to write a verse where I'm like, I did it, bad, I did it, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I could, and I'll have like a whole concept. But now, like when we started writing, I actually had to develop this mindset of like, just getting the song done in like the first take. Wow. So now what I do is like what we started when we started writing for our homegirl Sandy, Sun actually is her artist name.
Yeah.
She's one of the artists that we were writing for, backed by this like billionaire who was now our investor. But basically what I'm saying is we would go in and I would just do a melody, you know what I mean? I'll do, or even if it's like a staccato or it's a flow, I'll just go, I'll babble, right? For like a minute straight. You know what I mean? I'll do that or whatever and find the different grooves, find the hook and do it. But I freestyle it for the whole song, right? And maybe I'll do 3 takes of that. But the challenge to just do it in the first take, usually that's the take that I like. And then my producer will be like, all right, bro, I like what you did here. Let's match that. And so then we'll have the like babbling.
Yeah.
Right? Well, so we'll have that. It's like really fire melodic babbling. I can play some for you later.
Yeah,
but,
please. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'll have that set, and then I'll write to that. So it's like plug and play. Once I have that stencil of this is what the melody is gonna be, then I sit back and I find the words and plug it in. So the reality is like the hit was the melody.
Yeah.
So I did it in like a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or 2 minutes, however long it is. So that's how I write now. And then I do the harder stuff later, like finding the words. Before I used to try to find the words and find the concept. Now it's like, you know, I'll do the melody first. I'll do the hook first and then build around that. Because that's what people feel, right? They're gonna connect to the words 100%.
Yeah,
That's the other challenge, right? You want to say something that's you know, engaging, right? But usually, like, you think about all the songs you like and you play, you know, within the first couple of seconds, you got to know, am I going to listen to this all the way through or skip it, right?
Yeah.
So I try to do stuff where it's like everything is a hook. Even the verse is a hook in a way where it's like catchy. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the science of like how we do that. And we can do that quick. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think it's a talent you have, to be honest.
Yeah,
but do you
yeah,
teach
yeah.
people though? Like,
like you know, with like basically our production company, you know, when we basically do coaching. You know,
Okay,
we do like coaching. We write whole songs. It basically depends on what you need and whatever package we sell to you.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, we definitely can try to enhance what's there. Like I haven't like taught somebody from scratch that isn't an artist, but we're in the business of enhancing whatever you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah,
so-
I think that's a big gift, and truly, like, I know you did tell me, like, you're truly looking into also, like, within your own songs to do some Christian songs. You know, what's your artist name? Like, what do you go by?
Yeah. So I go by Jay. You could look at our Instagram.
Okay.
AP at APB Worldwide.
Yeah.
So APB Worldwide, and then on, you know, Spotify, iTunes, every platform we're on, and it's APB. And then you can search the Airplane Boys. You can search the Airplane Boys on YouTube, Google, and a bunch of stuff will come up too, because that was our name when we first came out. Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah,
okay, so now that you know the both sides of life, like you know, being a Christian and also not knowing God, right? A lot of people have said that songs do a lot of things in a person.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
depending the song you're listening to.
Yeah.
Can you teach us a little bit about that, like the emotion side of songs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of like, in terms of like the emotional side, I don't put, like, I know for sure like frequencies affect you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
808s, lower frequencies. You know, they basically, I don't know too much about it on a scientific level, but for sure, you can look it up. You know,
Yeah.
distorted sounds affect you inside differently. They
Yeah.
affect your chakras, right? These are like real things.
Yeah.
So I don't know too much about that, but you know, I know that music has extreme power. You know, when you look at like what God said, you know, let there be light,
Yeah.
right?
And there was light.
And there was light. Like what that is sound, right? Because that's what he said, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that in itself, that means that everything we say has power. Every thought has power. It has a vibration, right? So like everything is sonics, you know what I mean? And that's just off top. But in terms of like me, I don't really put too much thought into that.
Yeah.
You know, I put more so the intention behind what I say and what I want the person to feel afterwards.
Okay.
You know, sometimes like, for example, you know, I have a song called Neo, right? And that's basically about, that's one of my favorite songs or one of my favorite verses because like it's basically social analysis and I'm talking about the times, and I wrote it before the pandemic, but it was like about the pandemic.
No way.
You see what
How
I'm
did you
saying?
know? Like,
I just kind of felt the changes somehow. I felt the changes. Like oftentimes, like and it goes back to me thinking about service. You know, what do I want people to feel? If you're gonna spend your time with me and listen to my voice, I want you to leave edified, or I want you to like ask yourself questions about
Yeah.
yourself, right? And so in that song, you know, I'm talking about, yeah, basically what would happen with like vaccines and, you know, I'm talking about, you know, overrule,
Yeah.
control, right? Those are the things that I want people to, you know, really question, you know, how you're living day to day. How are you providing for your family? How are you protecting your family? What are you using to protect your family?
Yeah.
Right? Those are the things that I really care about. Even if I have like a banger party song or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring people in. You know, God said be in the world but not of it.
Yeah. Oof.
Right? So
Preach
it's
it.
like, you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, that's always been my mentality because
Yeah.
I was born again, right? Even though I'm rocking with these guys and they're the top sinners in the world. But, you know, look at Moses, you know, in Egypt, right? Look at, it's one thing, in my opinion, it's like one thing to like save people in the church and to have people and have your congregation, right? But that's what, being an evangelist is about. It's about going out. It's about being in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jesus was with Mary Magdalene. He was with,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
To bring them in.
huh?
To bring them in. Like
To bring,
you go out to
yeah.
bring them in. Yeah.
You see? And so it's, you know, we call it the pill in the bread mentality. You know what I mean? It's a bread, but you don't know that, yo, there's some vitamins in there off top. And that's kind of how I move around in life, you know? It's not like disguising God in me. You know what I mean? You talk to me, you hear what I'm on.
Yeah.
Some people might look at me, they don't know if this guy read the Bible, but now I'm talking and you know I read the Bible.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But I'm not out here like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Putting it.
yeah. And I'm not even mad at that too. Everybody has their own ministry,
Yeah.
right? Everybody has to do their own part. You know, you just got to figure out what is your avenue, right? And that's what I'm saying, like going back to what I was saying earlier, like you got to pray and you got to understand and you got to know that you need that. You got to know that that's the only way. You know what I mean? So that I've come to that conclusion a long time ago. Yeah.
So what if now I'm a person who really truly like love God? I grew up in the church, but I'm getting lost because it's like producing like Christian music, or even in writing Christian music, even like a singer. It's way different from the world. And now it's like I switch into being the worldly singer and it's working for me. Good money, good everything. How do I manage to balance? Because you were doing it. So how do you manage that? The discipline you give yourself.
Yeah. It's a lot, you know. It's time. And I'm not even saying my way is the right way. I'm just saying that's my way. You know what I mean? And even as I was talking about sustainability earlier, like I'm also in a place where I'm like, yo, like I really gotta give my time and focus intentionally. So that's where I'm at now. Like even me and my producers were talking about, you know, what we want to do with our coming projects and how we want to represent light in it. You know, so it's, you know, one, I have a good team, you know what I mean? I have a team that understands me and we all actually share the same principles overall. So that's how I do it. I'm surrounded by people who believe in what I believe in.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't allow myself to you know, go into darkness, you know, too far. You know what I mean?
But how do you avoid competition though? Like in your industry, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To compare yourself.
Well, you know, that's I compare myself with myself. You know, I look in the mirror and I'm like, how you feel today, bro? You know, like
You talk
what
to
do you
yourself.
want to do? Yeah. You know, I write, I journal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I do that, and that's what I do. You know, and I still look at what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, because I still listen to like a lot of, like I came up on Lecrae and a lot of like, you know, I met Lecrae too. I did a show with him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've done a show with like Kendrick Lamar. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of artists.
Yeah.
J. Cole, whatever. But I came up on those guys, and I see too that they like the man like Lecrae. He, you know, he's like making trap hip hop, right?
Yeah.
So, but the message is there, and I think it's about understanding the gauge of like what's going on. Like I can look at a artist in the world and be like, okay, cool. I see how that's working. I can probably take a little bit of what's working there with the beats or whatever, and then put my message in something, a vibe like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think you know, from a level of studying, I'll study what's going on,
Yeah.
but I don't compare myself because I know like my message is my message. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you, I believe in like working with what you have.
Okay.
You know, it's like, you know, I have like, I don't know, like 13,000 followers on Instagram, for example. It's not like a major amount,
Yeah.
but like if I can sell like 500 t-shirts, then that's money. You feel me?
Yeah.
Or that, you know what I'm saying? That's like a
Yeah.
small number, but I'm saying like, you know, I'm working with what I have and that's going to multiply. You know what I mean? And that's how you reach. But it's about concentrating on what you do best.
Yeah.
You know, when you get caught up with like comparing yourself, it's a road to hell for sure. You know what I mean? Because that's not you.
Yeah.
You can't do that. But some people get caught, and that's what we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
As human beings, we like always want to compare. So that's a natural thing. But I think part of growth is understanding that you got to be really solid with yourself and understanding and looking at what works for you for real. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Would you say like lack of confidence within yourself? That's what we cause that.
Yeah, it could be lack of confidence. It could be lack of understanding. You could be
Okay.
confident,
Yeah.
but not understand, you know, yourself fully, right? And not understand, you know, your purpose all the way.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that is constantly being redefined too. You know, it's okay to change and to shift. You know, and in a lot of ways, like that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
You know, I have to accept once I had my kid, I was like, yo, I can't do the same stuff that I used to do.
Wow.
You know, I mean, you know, I got engaged, all of that, right? Like
Congrats.
you can't, yeah. So, so you know, yeah,
Is having
That
your
was
kids like that changed you a lot? Like how?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it did. You know, but I didn't really understand it at first. Now I understand it a little more. You know,
Okay.
but it was very automatic. I feel like I go into a fathership role like natural. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, now I have more to think about. I
Yeah.
have to think about my moves differently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
What
saying?
you do? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. Because I always thought like fathers are more like they would change if it's a girl.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to hear like.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So what's something like you really want to do different mostly now to be like for your son once he grows up? He's like, oh, that's my dad. Like my
Yeah.
dad, you know.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want him to see how I treat people.
Yeah.
You know, I want him to see that positive. I want him to see that I'm God-fearing.
Mm-hmm.
And most of all, I want him to see that I didn't conform.
Ooh.
I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you know, a lot of men, you know, get caught up in like, oh, I'm doing this for my family, I'm doing this, and they kind of like kill their dreams.
Yeah.
And they kill like, you know, that's a big problem with men.
Mm-hmm.
I see. I look at like all the stuff online.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of men are taking a lot of disrespect. A lot of men don't have the proper dynamics they need to function in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are men who have forgotten, or maybe didn't know who they were fully, and then have come to a place where they're like, yo, I can't get lost in this.
Yeah.
You know? So I want my son to see a man who didn't conform to the norm and continue to find a way to follow through with his dreams, you know?
Yeah. I like that. Like Chéri, I like that. So what is something that you could tell your younger self? I'm really proud of you though. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Yeah.
the way you push out yourself at 20 years old, like
Yeah.
even like from the age of 10,
Yeah.
your dad is not there. But it's
Yeah.
like you knew what you wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
yeah.
what's that? Like what is like
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
yeah.
You know, like, yeah, it's I don't know, man. I guess I just thank God, you know. Like, I think my surroundings had a lot to do with it. Like, growing up, there was a lot of music in my house,
Okay.
you know, and at least for me and my dad, like, that was a point of connection for us because he had this really large record collection. And on Sundays, we'd always play something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
He had a Kenwood, you know, it was like one of the old, it had like the record player on top, the CD player, the mixer. It was one of the stacked joints for the old school one with some big Kenwood speakers, some 12 inches on the sides, you know.
Yeah.
So like that definitely influenced me to love music,
Yeah.
right? And I think, you know, the reason I actually started writing, to be honest,
Yeah.
now that I think about it, it was because of my parents' divorce. Because I was trying to write about what I was feeling.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's how I started to actually write. Like I took a pen to the paper and I was trying to write about, what was going on. And that is a high level of consciousness, I guess, for like a 10-year-old.
It
right?
is. It is. Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's just the way that I am, but the follow through, I guess, comes from like who I was around too, because I had people around me that wanted to do that and wanted to express and find themselves in that way. And I've always been a creative,
Yeah.
like, one of my first dreams was to be a car engineer. I used to draw cars all the time. Wow. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I always was interested in people who are doing stuff with their hands and or art as a whole, so yeah.
That's crazy because like
Yeah.
like even me myself at 20, I knew what I wanted, but I'm not gonna push myself. I was so
Yeah.
scared, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so many things. But I love how you said like it's people you pull yourself around, like the people you surround yourself with. That helps a lot. Do you still have the same friends? Like you still,
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I value the most.
Okay.
That's real wealth. Like my friends right now, a lot of my close friends, we've been friends for like over 25 years. Like even me and Manny, like we've been like 25 years. Mark, my producer, like 20. A lot of the guys in the crew, Justin, Warren, like 25 years, right?
Yeah.
So like 100%, I pride myself on being able to keep good relationships, relationships is key.
It is.
So I have a lot of good relationships. So yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a good take home too. You know what I mean? Because people like, I don't know, like in this era we're in with Instagram and this and that, I don't know what people value, but friendships are long-term friendships and is important,
Do you have a method to choose who's gonna be your friend? Like once you meet somebody, yeah.
Do I know?
Yeah. Like do you have a method? Like do you?
Method.
Yeah.
Not really, but like just intuitively for sure. Like I can meet someone and within the first little while I'll know like where I need to keep them.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Or like what I could learn or whatever. I definitely have a good scope of like, I feel like I have a good scope of who someone is or what I can expect within the first little while, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's a talent in itself, right? Like that
It
is key to be able to navigate the world,
That's a big thing. I think you should give that to your children because we're struggling. Like our friendship nowadays, like it won't last that long. Like so for you, that's a good thing. Yeah. So
Appreciate that. Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yeah,
Is there something like you wanna like share with us or teach us or like help us, like
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I would just say continue to follow your dreams. Be okay with being in the dark a little bit. That's where God meets you.
Oof.
Again, right? Like you need that, and I'm learning that like you have to embrace the darkness, You can't run from it. No matter how it feels, just if you're out there, you're going through something really rough right now, just remember the times that, God put you through, that you got through. And even if that's all you have, that should be enough. And just trust the process, continue to pray, continue to try to be of service and look for ways to give, That's what I would say. And yeah, you know what I mean? Like follow the kid, you know what I mean? APB Worldwide. Jason Alexander the 13th. That's my personal. I'm not really like super active on my personal. I do the 1-2, but But yeah, I mean, look out for our music. We're gonna drop like 3 projects this year. Wow. We've been sitting on a lot of music, and we've just been fine tuning the ways that we want to deliver it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we have a ton of music and lots of content that we want to give everybody. So yeah.
When do you know to release a song, if I may ask?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like I used to kind of like follow the times of when and like look at what's going on and try to base it. But now I'm like past that, I just kind of more so focus on what is the story, can I put out, what is the story if we put out these 4 songs in this time and let's just drop that. Right now I just want to give music and that's all I want to do. So it's like in the next 2 weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks, we're gonna drop a song.
Wow.
I'm just gonna drop it.
Yeah.
You know, we know what song. I can kind of gauge, like, you know, the song is kind of like on a what is it? It's not. It's kind of like a drill vibe, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a song called Seasons. But I feel like it's in pocket for what's going on now, and yeah, we're gonna drop that and just roll it out. It's a fun record. You know, we're gonna have some dance records too, and then we're working on some of the more light field stuff. You know what I mean, to come in. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, so it's gonna be 3 different projects, and then we're gonna drop one big project called When the World Opens Up. You know, yeah. So we're gonna do Late Love 2 EP, for sure, and then we're working on some names for the other 2. But you know, when it all comes together, it's gonna be called When the World Opens Up, and that's inspired by, you know, the lockdown that we went through a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And you know, and about affirming a positive future. You know, I feel like we gotta affirm a positive future because everything on the news and everything going on is telling us that, you know, darkness and all this stuff is coming, which is true. But it's like, you know, if God is for us, who'll be against us? You see what I'm saying? So that's the vibes. That's the vibes.
Apparently, like, there's something I saw recently that apparently, within these few years from the pandemic, that a lot of people have been buying Bibles, actually. Like, it's been a big thing people are doing. And for you guys who are doing music, we do ask, like, seriously, like, push it out. Like, you know, because music always did something that influenced a lot of people in a short time, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, amen. Thanks for that encouragement. You know, like, and I see that. You know, I see that. You know, because people are seeing, even with Christianity, like, I don't knock any other religion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, me and my boy were talking the other day, and he was talking about the pundit at he's Hindu, he's Guyanese.
Oh, okay.
You know, I'm Guyanese too.
Yeah.
But he's like Indian Guyanese, right? And you know, he was saying how his pundit at his temple is saying why there's people leaving to Christianity, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, right? Like, what religion? And again, I'm not knocking any other religion. That's not my business. But there's no other religion really dealing with what we're seeing in front of us.
Yeah. 100%.
That's really talking about what that has already talked about what we're gonna see. The mark of the beast, all these things.
Yeah.
Right? These are things. There's science in the Bible. The Bible, people don't understand. The Bible is a scientific book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's allegory, there's story, there's things that literally change you inside.
100%.
In that, right?
Yeah.
And you have to pray for that discernment when you read it. It's not just words put together in stories. It's the truth. You know.
Yeah.
So. I think people are starting to see that. They're starting to see. And then even interestingly enough, like, I'm not a supporter of, like, Donald Trump in any crazy way, but he knew for his marketing to get into to power, he had to talk about God because that's where we're at. You know? That's not right. I don't know what he's going to do or what is what, you know what I mean? And there's some things I agree with some people, politicians, and some I don't, but this is at the forefront now. The understanding of God is at the forefront. The need for something more is at the forefront. And I think the Bible is a good start.
It is where we should all start from. Seriously, I agree. You know, so I'm truly proud of you. Seriously, I wish I'm gonna have a part 2, hopefully. Yeah, and
Cool.
Something else you wanna talk?
No, that's cool. No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I'm thankful for the opportunity. Tune into Bella. You know what I mean?
You see?
All the time.
Listen
Big
to
bro
him.
in the place.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah. So guys, you heard it from the best of the best. My favorite brother is in the house.
Have a dance off, man.
And he actually have good music. Seriously, I told him, like, once he start doing Christian songs,
We're working on it.
like, I'm gonna be his first, like, fan. Like, you know, like, I'll be like, it's gonna be on replay. Cause I truly love his music, like how he writes and everything. It's really good. But I also, like, since I started, like, church stuff, like okay, not church stuff, but once I became a believer, I did tell myself no more worthy songs.
I feel you.
Yeah, so that's why. But
Yeah,
other than
yeah,
that, like I would know your songs because I actually really love how you write and stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So,
pray for me. Pray
I
for
will.
me. Just keep me in your prayers. If you're watching this, keep me in your prayers.
Yes, we will, because we need actually like
Yeah.
like
No,
good
for
songs.
sure.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for tuning in on Bella Let's Talk. This was my favorite moment to really sit down and get to hear from the talented people. And I will put his Instagram if you truly have any questions, like you need help with anything. Like I know he's a good guy. He truly will reply. And if he doesn't reply, just let me know. I will message him for you. He's a good guy. Seriously, he will message you back. And if you are a young person who is looking into getting into music and anything, he said it already, like, reach out to him. He will give you more information how you can, get helped. So thank you guys. Keep your vision up, keep Christ up, and we're proud each and every one of you. Keep pushing your music. And like I think one thing I've realized is that a lot of young people, like once like this put a song that they thought like this is gonna go off and they only have like maybe 1K people like watching, they get discouraged.
Yeah, you can't, man, because it is tough, right?
Yeah.
You take that and you just keep reinventing. It's a marathon, word to Nipsey Hussle, right? It's like if you really want it, the people that got there, they kept pushing. There was their points where they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you're never gonna know unless you keep going. But when you keep going, you gotta be realistic with yourself.
Oof.
You gotta be realistic too. You can't just be dreaming. You do have to look at the market. You gotta look at what you're saying, and then keep that trust, because it is like a lottery game, and it is about a lot of relationships. But with being online, you can reach out to anyone. All you gotta do is have that perseverance. And I would say, like when understand like the other sides of the business too. Look at how you can make money off your merchandise. Look at how ways that you can support yourself. Have a backup or something cooking with you, while you're putting out the music.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You can't just want to put out music, and then think that people are gonna comment and engage. And even me, like I need work on how to be more engaging on Instagram or whatever. I just post a really dope lifestyle because I live that. You know what I mean? I really am doing this stuff, right? So, but for people coming up is different with TikTok and Instagram and all of that. Like, there's ways to, where you can open people up to who you are, and
I think now actually with the social media it makes it more easier, to be honest. Yeah.
It's easy
To put yourself out.
Yeah.
So guys, you heard it from the best. I have nothing else to say. Seriously, he gives the best advice, and
Oh man.
so I truly appreciate. Actually, do you know that from the last time I spoke to you, it's when I did my video after, like my first Bella's talk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who actually pushed me to actually
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we talked in church that time. Oh my.
And you're like, yeah, just do it. And then I was like, okay, maybe let me try.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that means a lot.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It means a lot from like to get it from you. It means a lot to me too. Because I remember you said you are coming, seriously. And I was like, yo, I actually need to push now, right?
Yeah.
And now to have you finally.
Wow. Wow. Well, look at that, man.
You see?
Amen.
Yeah,
That means a lot.
It worked a lot, yeah. So thank you guys for watching and tuning in on Bella's Talk. Have a wonderful day.
All
Bye,
right.
Chéri.
Peace.
Peace.